Hello friends, you're in the Uribe Society. I'm Fernando Uribe for Hudson County TV, coming to you from City Hall here in Secaucus. This afternoon I'll be speaking with Secaucus Mayor Michael Gonnelli regarding the controversy during a recent implementation of an environmental impact fee for a recent dinosaur park in Secaucus. There's much disagreement between himself and freeholder Bill O'Day up in Jersey City. We'll find out exactly what the controversy is all about and if indeed there is any resolution. We'll be right back on Hudson County TV.
Mr. Mayor, based on recent reports, as this morning's NJ.com story features, freeholder Bill O'Day doesn't seem to be very happy with the decision in terms of this environmental fee that's being assessed instead of a regular parking fee at the park. What can you tell our viewers about the decision with that, since the City Council implemented that environmental fee instead of a traditional parking fee for the facility?
Well, first of all, the lease with that property, I believe it's 27 acres, was done directly with the County of Hudson. And there was, during that entire time, talk about, and I know freeholder O'Day mentioned several times, we never knew about the parking. There was talk about parking throughout the minutes of their meetings, which I have reviewed. The parking lot was a lot that the county had been using to store old equipment, which they vacated to allow the use of parking. The issue really came to a head when the Meadowlands Commission would not allow the Dinosaur Park to charge for parking. And that's when we stepped in. The town of Secaucus gets not one penny from the Dinosaur Park. I think it's a super idea. I think it's a great educational experience. I think everybody should visit it and see it because it's a wonderful place. But there's actually no financial benefit to Secaucus whatsoever. On the other hand, the county has a 3-year lease for $1 million for that land, which is in Secaucus, which is tax exempt. So when the Meadowlands Commission denied them to charge for parking, which we would have gotten a percentage of that because we have a parking tax, we came up with the idea, which we thought was a great idea. And what we're encouraging people to do is not to drive there and park and pay the $10 impact fee, but to take mass transportation. I mean, the park is 5 minutes from the Lautenberg train station. They run shuttle buses all day long to the park. There's bus transportation from New Jersey Transit. So if you take any mass transportation to get to the site, obviously you're not paying for parking. But if you choose to drive your car to the site, there's a $10 impact fee, which portion of that money will go to the park owners to cover their expenses for traffic control, for maintenance of the lot, for the people that collect the tickets and so on, and the balance will come to the town. Now, instead of dedicating that money solely to offset property taxes and putting it into our general fund, what we decided to do is to use it for green space. So we're going to put that money into a dedicated account that will be used to upgrade our parks in town, to upgrade all of our ball fields in town, and if need be, to acquire open space.
Freeholder Bill O'Day seems to be expressing, again, some discontent in today's article on NJ.com that essentially the township is getting some money out of this, and that since it is essentially on county land, that the county should be benefiting from the fee being assessed. And furthermore, I mean, would some viewers maybe express some disapproval that the fact that aren't property taxes supposed to be used for the improvement of the township itself? And if so, I mean, if you're telling me that the township is not reaping any benefits in terms financially from the collection of this fee, then why would the freeholder Bill O'Day express such outrage about it? Well, I mean, in your opinion, why do you think he's doing that?
You're asking me a couple of questions in the same sentence, so let me just go back. First of all, freeholder O'Day, if his concern was this parking, during the entire time that the county was negotiating with the operators of the Dinosaur Park, they should have talked about that, not after the fact. So, I mean, that's something that freeholder O'Day maybe fell asleep at the switch on. Now, because we came up with an idea that's going to benefit not just Secaucus, every one of our parks in town. We don't have somebody standing outside asking where you live. So, you know, our parks are open to people from Hudson, Bergen. People come from all over to use our parks. Our Little League field just hosted the Hudson County Little League Championship tournament. There was teams playing from every town in the county, every city in the county. Our soccer field, we gave out permits to towns in the county. So I don't know what he's talking about. But when you talk about what I'm saying about tax dollars, we receive no tax dollars from the property that the Dinosaur Park is on. That's county land. It's tax exempt. You know, that's something maybe we should look at when the county or any agency comes into a tax exempt property and starts to get a profit from that. Maybe the town should get something. But we're not looking in that direction. We're more than satisfied with an environmental impact fee that will be dedicated to upgrading every single park in Secaucus.
So again, just for the record, the Township of Secaucus does not receive any of the revenue generated by this environmental impact fee.
No, from the environmental impact fee, we do. From the park itself, we don't. That's county-owned property. The county entered into a lease with the park owners for $1 million over 3 years for the park. For the parking, we get a portion of that money.
And the portion of that money is used again towards the township itself, whether it be for the improvement of roads or anything else within the municipality.
It's going to be dedicated directly to open space, green space, and the upgrading of our park system.
Just one last thing, Mr. Mayor. What would you say to naysayers that mention the fact that, again, the park already charges a fee for admission? And if the motive is to be a little more green-friendly and to have a green initiative, isn't it sort of being a little more expensive, let's say, just for a family of 4 to park and then the fee itself? I mean, I understand that the motive is to try to push a green initiative and to motivate people to take mass transit. But for many families, especially for large families, I mean, isn't that still more of a burden that you're sort of, not you yourself, but that this entire idea is putting on families like that, where just simply driving is a lot easier and perhaps a little more inexpensive for them than taking the train, especially, let's say, for a large family?
Well, I don't know if that's true. If it's a little more cheaper, or you know, the price of gas nowadays is pretty high. So, and I think mass transportation is much less expensive than driving there. But the bottom line is, what we're doing is asking people to use mass transportation. They're traveling Secaucus roads. The park is being patrolled by Secaucus police. The park is being, if there's a fire there, it's the Secaucus Fire Department that responds. If there's a medical emergency there, it's the Secaucus EMS that responds. And County of Hudson is getting the benefit of the lease, not the town of Secaucus. Now, it was always the park's owner's intent to charge for parking. The Meadowlands Commission will not allow that. So this is a way around that. I'm guessing if they didn't charge for parking, the ticket price may have went up, because they still need to park those cars, direct those traffic, and do everything that they're doing now to keep that running in an orderly fashion. So I don't see the $10 fee as being that much of a detriment that the people are going to go and pay $20 to get into the park.
As I mentioned previously, as expressed some outrage here, is this something that can be resolved between yourself and Freeholder O'Day in terms of, let's say, any discrepancies or any, incongruities that are existing with this entire issue? Because again, it's sort of new and today in the news feed, and at the same time, I'm sure he'll continue to express some outrage on it. And in the meantime, what do you think, if any, is there a resolution to be had with something like this?
I think, first of all, Freeholder O'Day should have had the decency to call me first before he put out a press release to all the major newspapers. And
I mean, just for the record, it wasn't a press release by Freeholder O'Day per se. It was a story in today's NJ.com where he was quoted in it. So I mean, I just want to make sure.
When it first happened last week, it was a letter that Freeholder O'Day wrote to the freeholders about his concerns that went to every major newspaper. So in my eyes, it was a press release, and that's what started the whole thing going. So he should have had the common courtesy to call me. County executive calls me for any issue that happens in Secaucus. Freeholder O'Day doesn't even represent Secaucus. Freeholder Cifelli does. He didn't even call Freeholder Cifelli, which was my first phone call. So he should have had the common courtesy to do that. Quite frankly, I'm probably more annoyed at him than he is at me, because if we did get a phone call, maybe there was a word to work this thing out. But right now, as far as we're concerned, we're moving forward. We passed a resolution authorizing the environmental impact, and we're going to stick to our guns.